Hey everybody, I'm Logan Alec. I'm a CPA. I own Choice Tax Relief. Today, we're going to be looking at Reddit, and I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on a question about whether or not you should pay your tax debt even if it's overstated and it's incorrect. So I'm going to read through this whole question. It's a little bit lengthy, but I think it'll be worth it when it comes to understanding some concepts. By the way, if you are on Reddit, I recently became the moderator of the tax relief subreddit, and I'm definitely encouraging people to post any questions for me there in the tax relief subreddit. You can see it's quite small. I am the only mod, so that's fun. Anyway, all right, let's go to our guy's question. I'm a U.S. citizen living abroad, and I have filed my taxes the last 5 years with a foreign earned income exclusion. But in 2021, I made a mistake on the return. Despite trying to exclude my foreign earned income, none of it was excluded, and I owed 400, which has grown to 441 now. Now, if you don't know what the foreign earned income exclusion is, you claim that using Form 2555. Because the government basically gives you an exclusion of a certain amount of income every year if it's foreign earned, right? You can either qualify under the bona fide residence test or the physical presence test. And this amount, it changes every year. It's a little over $100,000. Right, so for 2024 to 126,000, but let's say 2020, it was 107,000. Right, so it kind of goes up a little bit every year. And this foreign earned income exclusion, it only counts against your regular income tax. Okay, if you're self-employed, you still have to pay self-employment tax unless you have a totalization agreement with the other country, opting into their equivalent of Social Security, but that's kind of beyond the scope of this question here. Also at the foreign income exclusion, you can't take the foreign tax credit. So I mean, it's there's considerations, right? Anyway, in 2021, I made a mistake. Didn't for some reason on his return in his tax software, his foreign earned income wasn't excluded, and he owed $400, which has grown to 441 now. Now I'm assuming that this individual is right about this, right? That they actually should not have owed $400. That this isn't like self-employment tax or something, right? The following 2022 and 2023 were done correctly with no taxes owed. I didn't notice the error in the 2021 return until 2024 when I finally was able to access ID.me and saw the missed notices. Anyway, when I looked into it, I had to file a paper amended return to fix the error because I had filed 2021 by paper 2. When I last visited the USA, I mailed that amended return, but that was October 2024. I have not heard anything, and now the statute of limitations is coming up. I'm not sure what they mean by this. I could not search the Where's My Amended Return service because of having a foreign zip code. I'm going to call the International Taxpayer Helpline, but what would you do? What advice do you have? In total, I made $13,000 in 2021, so it's pretty funny to have taxes owed on that year and none of the years following when I made normal wages. My notices were all sent to the wrong address. I think the error has meant that I owe $441, including penalties and interest. It goes up by $8 every month or so, even though I only made $13,000 that year. So, fundamental question, should he pay this $441 even though it's incorrect? Now, this is a rather small amount, right? I guess, or maybe I'm jaded because, we have people come to us who owe $441,000, not just $441. And there are times when it might make sense to just pay the tax liability and then go pursue a refund later. Okay, that could make sense in some circumstances. But in this case, when you clearly made a mistake on a return, I'm assuming that's the case here because that's what you said, and you then amend that return to fix that mistake, I would say no. I would say don't pay the tax. Just wait for the amended return to process. Okay, and as I'm recording this, it's May 2025. Right? You filed the amended return October 2024. That's November, December, January, February, March, April, May. That's, 7 months ago? Right? Kind of sounds like a long time, but we're seeing amended returns actually take a lot longer than that to process. Okay? So I would be patient about this. I would wait until the amended return processes. Hopefully it takes care of your issue. But you really do have to be patient during this process because these amended returns, the IRS is taking a long time to deal with them. You're talking about the statute of limitations. I don't really know what you mean. I think you might be confused there. You can always amend a return to fix it, right? So I'm not too sure what exactly you mean there. So I have seen some people make the mistake of thinking they only have 3 years to amend a tax return from the due date of the return. That's not true. You can always go back and amend a return, even if it was due longer than 3 years ago, to fix a mistake on the return, right? The 3 years you might be thinking of is the 3-year refund statute limitations, which says, if you haven't filed a return, you have to file it within 3 years of the due date or the extended due date if you've got a valid extension to get a refund for that year. Or maybe you're thinking of the 3-year assessment statute, right? In general, now there are some exceptions, obviously, fraud and other things, and certain fact patterns which can make it 6. But the general rule is IRS has 3 years right from the date you file a return to go back and audit that return. That's the assessment statute. So, but none of these apply here because it doesn't sound like you're interested in getting a refund. It's just you think you should owe nothing because you qualify for the foreign earned income exclusion, as well as it's not an assessment statute issue. So yeah, I think there might be some confusion here, but bottom line, no. For this, in this kind of matter, when you're waiting on an amended return to fix itself, I wouldn't pay the debt, even though it's incorrect. If the IRS if it's now in collections and a collections official is now going after you, right? And they send a final notice of intent to levy with CDP rights, I would request a CDP hearing and explain what's going on to the appeals officer. And frankly, they shouldn't be trying to collect on a year when there's an amended return open. They shouldn't be doing that. Because remember, taxpayer bill rights number 3, you have the right to pay no more than the correct amount of tax. Okay, correct amount of tax in this case is 0. You shouldn't have to pay them $441. Okay. Anyway, that's a very good question. Sorry, I had a brain pause right there. If you owe the IRS, now you're going to have to owe the IRS a little bit more than $441 to qualify for a free consultation. If you owe the IRS or your state at least $10,000 in back taxes, or you have multiple years of unfiled tax returns you need to take care of, reach out to us at Choice Tax Relief. You qualify for a free consultation, 866-8000-TAX. That's 866-8000-829. Or you can go to choicetaxrelief.com, fill out the form on the website, and we will reach out to you. I have some other videos about tax relief on the left-hand side of the screen for your education and enjoyment. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.